Let me start recording. We're breaking down Zechariah 14, and we're breaking down Isaiah, and we're going into, like we mentioned earlier, we're going into what happens after the wilderness. After the wilderness. Earlier we went into scriptures. We went into Zechariah 14, which explains the spoils being divided. Then we went into 2 Thessalonians 2, that explains that there must be a falling away before the coming of Christ, and that coming away was us being destroyed in 70 AD, and they're about to do the same thing in the earth again. And we're showing how they're practicing that over in the Americas today. How they're using the Gulf spill in the immigration laws to place a garrison of military around the United States aimed towards destroying the people, the children of Israel, in America. We also went to Joel, the 3rd chapter, to give an example of them when they destroyed Israel, how they divided the spoils, the silver and the gold. Like when they moved people and displaced people from America, they'll take their silver and gold and whatever they have in their houses that are worth anything, and they'll be able to claim their houses under public domain. You'll mean nothing to them. Your substance will be taken by the state. We went back to Zechariah 14 and show how all the other nations are going to gather against us again. We're also showing that at the tail end of that, Christ will return. And it will split the mountains that we have over in Jerusalem, over in Israel today. Those two mountains will be split. So we'll have 4 separate mountains, and it will create a highway in which the elect can go through. But that will be after World War III. Okay? We also went into showing that the nations, or the Gentiles, or the strangers, will also be able to go through this highway, as the Gentiles or strangers were able to go through when we came out of Egypt. Now we're going to show you the wilderness itself. Because it tells you in Isaiah, the 11th chapter, that we shall be gathered throughout all the 4 corners of the earth, and what countries we'll come out of. America is not one of those countries. America will go down through war. So Christ will not deliver anyone from there. He will send the ships of Tarshish to the waters of South America, but only a small remnant will make it. We went into Isaiah and Amos to show you that only 10% of the Israelites in the earth will make it from the international destruction aimed towards destroying the children of Israel. Out of that 10%, 2/3 will be cut off and die in the wilderness, and only 1/3 will make it into that highway that Christ will create. Now we're going to Ezekiel 20 and 34 to show you. Start 20 and 34 to show us the wilderness. Read.
Isaiah chapter 20 verse 34. And I will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the countries where you have been scattered.
Go ahead.
With a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people.
So the Most High will bring us into the wilderness of the people. Read.
And there will I plead with you face to face.
We will be face to face with the Spirit of the Most High. Face to face, like we were during the time of Moses, when the children of Israel was complaining and going against leadership and trying to tear things down the whole time. And then the Most High came down on the congregation, and there was thundering and lightnings and all types of noises that they've never experienced in their lifetime. Then he said, well, Moses, you go talk to them. Being afraid after they were the same people given a problem like they were so tough probably about a few days early. So the Most High is going to be before us. His presence will be with us. We will be guided by day and night by the chariots of the Most High. Read.
Verse 36. Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness and of the land of Egypt.
Go ahead.
So will I plead with you, saith the Most High God. And I will cause you to pass under the rod.
The Lord will cause us to pass under the rod. So we'll go under the law again. That those that break the law at that time will not go through this highway we mentioned earlier. Read.
And I will bring you into the bond of the covenant, and I will purge out from among you the rebels.
So there will be rebels that will be among us. Rebels are not non-believers. Rebels are those that are rebelling against leadership. That's what rebels are. They're just going to do it the way they're going to do it because they believe in God too. They believe in Christ too. It happened during the time of Moses, when Moses was in the wilderness and the Most High told him how to do a sacrifice and serve him. Then you had the rebels in the camp who seen what the Most High told Moses and got their own tools and their own altar to do a separate sacrifice because they knew how to do it because the Most High showed Moses how to do it. So they wanted to be able to do it too, to be recognized as priests when the Most High didn't set them up as priests. So the Most High told Moses, you go down there and you tell them, everyone that's not with you, they better stand on the other side because I'm going to kill everyone that's not trying to follow what he set up. And women was breaking down trying to get their children and their friends from amongst these guys. These guys had their own camp set up to do sacrifice to the Most High. And they had it set up exactly how the Most High said do it. But the Most High was not accepting it because he didn't tell them to do it. Those are rebels. And we're going to have that in the wilderness again. People are going to look at it and be like, I can do it better. People that wasn't doing anything, didn't do anything, had no works. Now they're going to get in the wilderness and try to do something. Finish reading.
Verse 38. And I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgress against me.
And those that transgress against them, read.
I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn.
So they're going to think they've made it because they came out of the country and now they're beholding the Most High. They're going to think they're already in. But no. It's another purging process that must go down, that must happen. Read.
And they shall not enter into the land of Israel.
They will not enter into the land of Israel. To show you that Israel is not to be inhabited, until we're guided and those highways are split. The only safe places in the wilderness that we were in the past. That will be the only safe place in this earth. And then the Most High is going to make a highway from that wilderness. He's going to split this in 4 separate ways. And this highway is going to lead directly into Israel. And this highway is not going to be made for the people on the other side of the Atlantic. That's the purpose of the ships of Tarshish that Christ is going to send, which was in our past classes. It's going to be a small remnant, a very, very small remnant of the 10 tribes that will be living on the waters in South America. Barely living. And Christ is going to show the elect exactly where they are. And is going to command the Gentiles to take their ships and start sailing over, with Israelites commanding where they go. And they're going to go through these little areas, and we're going to see our children and all that running out from trees and all that, from safety after going through the nuclear fallout and all that. Just a small remnant is going to be there. And the Lord is going to have these ships of Tarshish start coming back near the Mediterranean and all in that area. The ships of Tarshish are the Mediterranean waters. He's going to send out those European ships. And those ships are going to come around through the Euphrates and all that, the same way they went over. And they're going to come into Israel eventually. They're going to migrate in. And the Gentiles are going to take our sons and place them to the Most High as an offering for mercy. They're going to be an offering for mercy, so that the Most High, so Christ can give them mercy. So there will be a purging. So people think, well, okay, I've escaped the New World Order and the concentration camps, and okay, the mark of the beast. All the way up into the wilderness, there's trials that's shaping the perfect child of the Most High. There's trials we must go through at each interval that will shape us into who we need to be. All right? any rebels, anyone that try to fight against authority that's established will be destroyed. There will be no rebels. So if you don't learn how to follow now, don't think you're going to learn to follow because the presence of the Most High is before you. Because if His presence been before you, where two or more gathered, He's in the midst. So you're going to be doing what you've been doing. Don't think now that you're in a certain situation, things are going to change. I've recognized that that's not so. People are going to be who they are. So it's up to us to deal with the change until we before Christ. Okay? Finish reading.
Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 39. As for you, O house of Israel, thus saith the Most High God, go ye, serve ye every one of his idols.
So the Lord is saying, now this is what I'm going to do. And you have a choice. You can go and continue to serve your idols. So you people in churches that are serving the pagan Christianity, the Lord is talking to you too. You can continue to think that that's the God of all gods. What's going on there? Okay. You can continue to think that you're serving the God of all gods. So the Lord is saying, okay, now go ahead and continue to serve your idols. Stay in your religions if you want. Go ahead.
Go ye, serve ye every one his idols, and hereafter also, if ye will not hearken unto me, but pollute ye my holy name.
But pollute ye my holy name, read.
No more with your gifts.
So you can't pollute the holy name of the Most High with your gifts anymore. Some people think they can buy the Most High. Well, here it is. Here's $1,000 offering. You can't pollute the Most High with your gifts anymore. He's not receiving your money. Where can the Most High spend money? Read.
But ye pollute my holy name no more with your gifts and with your idols. For in my holy mountain, and in the mountain of the height of Israel, saith the Most High God, there shall all the house of Israel, all of them in the land, serve me.
That's where we will serve the Most High, in that holy mountain. Go ahead.
There will I accept them, and there will I require your offerings, and the first fruits of your oblations.
And that's the place we call Zion. That's the place we call Zion. Go ahead.
With all your holy things.
Okay, let's go back to Zechariah 14. Let's get Isaiah 19 and 23. And I want to make another thing clear. The Lord says that we should be patient and long suffering, because I didn't want that little so-called outburst to be a stumbling block to people. We have been patient and long suffering, but I don't know what people think about Christ and the disciples. They didn't play games. They tell you Christ was an austere man. He wasn't going to sit there and play games. Sometimes people would ask questions just to trip him up in a question, just to trip him up. And he wouldn't even answer them anything. No, he says, no, you said that. And keep going. Why are you asking me questions? If you got the way, why are you amongst us? Shouldn't we be asking you questions if you have the way? So Christ was austere, and people may get alarmed because they think they're taught that Christ is some docile and you got to always be this little meek spirit. But sometimes it comes, you have to be swift and sharp. That's part of being Christ too. You got to know when to stop the games. And as long as you play games and entertain these kids which are young and learning, they will continue in their madness because there's no correction for them. So that's when the scriptures start applying, avoid foolish questions. You can avoid foolish questions. Okay? Okay. We got Isaiah 19?
Mhm.
Get Isaiah 49 and 8.
Isaiah chapter 49, verse 8.
Read through 11.
Thus saith the Most High, in an acceptable time have I heard thee, and in the day of salvation have I helped thee, and I will preserve thee, and give thee for a covenant of the people, to establish the earth, to cause to inherit the desolate heritage.
Read that again. This is the reward. This is what the Lord will give us once the kingdom is established. We need to cut that fan on it. Cut.
Isaiah chapter 49, verse 8.
Go ahead.
Thus saith the Most High, in an acceptable time have I heard thee, and in a day of salvation have I helped thee, and I will preserve thee, and give thee for a covenant of the people.
So this is showing you what salvation is. Some people think salvation is being saved. That's another misconception being taught through Christianity. Salvation is power and rulership. Power and rulership. That's what salvation is. And Christ says in St. John 4, you worship and you know not what you worship, for salvation is of the Jews or of the Israelites. When we fell, it tells you in Romans the 11th chapter that salvation came to the Gentiles. When did it come to them? When they ravished our kingdom and took our temple and took our riches and controlled the earth. That's the Gentiles' salvation. They're living in it. They're living in it. So people think that salvation is being saved in Christ. No, that's not what that means. Salvation is dominion and power. Go ahead.
And I will preserve thee, and give thee for a covenant of the people, to establish the earth.
So the Lord is going to give us directions on what to give the Gentiles to establish the earth. He's going to give us detailed instructions on how to govern. Go ahead.
To cause to inherit the desolate heritages.
So now is Christ giving the 144,000 and the men and the children of Israel power on how to get the desolate places back the way they were before the Gentiles received the earth in their hands. You have to realize after this war that's coming, it's going to make the majority of the earth desolate, which means men can't inhabit it. And you know, after a nuclear fallout, you have to go through years before you can actually be in one of those radiated areas. It's going to be desolate of people. So Christ is going to give us the know-how and the understanding on how we can straighten this out. Okay? We mentioned earlier that these wars are prepared to actually free the children of Israel. Because once the governments are broken through war, the poor of the earth is going to come to the top. These are the people that's going to join together and start creating a new mindset amongst the people. Go ahead.
Verse 9. Then thou mayest say to the prisoners, Go forth, to them that are in darkness, show yourselves. They shall feed in the ways, and their pastures shall be in all high places. They shall not hunger, nor thirst, neither shall the heat nor sun smite them. For he that hath mercy on them shall lead them, even by the springs of water shall he guide them. And I will make all my mountains a way, and my highways shall be exalted.
It's showing you how we will enter into the kingdom of heaven, how we'll go out and get our brothers who've been waiting. They've been living in dark times, hurting, suffering. We're going to go there. We're going to make sure they have rations. It tells you that when Christ sets this up, he's going to have springs that go out to clear the waters and clean the waters. All right? So we're not worried about what's going on with the waters, because Christ is going to bring new waters. There will be a new heaven and a new earth. That earth will be made within this earth. But Christ will bring it. All right? And we also showed earlier in Isaiah the 14th chapter how the Gentiles will be placed on that same highway. And they will be serving the Most High. They'll be serving Christ. Okay? Let's go to Ezekiel 38. I'm going to jump back on course here, okay? Huh? Is it? Yeah, but I wanted to be able to go into the time where the plagues hit. The last plague.
Yeah.
All right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go to Ezekiel 39 and 8.
Ezekiel chapter 39 verse 8. Behold, it is come, and it is done, saith the Most High God. This is the day whereof I have spoken. And they that dwell in the cities of Israel shall go forth.
It says, and they that dwell in the cities of Israel shall go forth. Now once Christ have established things, he's going to decree the men, primarily the 144,000, to start subduing the earth, because you're going to have other nations and armies with their weapons still intact. So even though the governments will be broken by Christ, you're going to have individuals all over the earth with weaponry. Go ahead.
Verse 9. And they that dwell in the cities of Israel shall go forth, and shall set on fire and burn the weapons.
So the first thing is we're going to set on fire all the weapons of the Gentiles. Go ahead.
And burn the weapons, both the shields and the bucklers, the bows and the arrows, and the handstaves, and the spears, and they shall burn them with fire 7 years.
How many years?
7 years.
7 years. Now we know that Christ's kingdom is 1,000 years of peace. So before that millennium of reign, there must be a 7-year roundup of all weapons. So this is chronological order. Through the destruction that's going on in the earth today, which is the falling away, 90% must fall. 10% is going to make it to the wilderness. 2/3 of that 10% is going to die. And only that 1/3 is going to be left in the Most High's hands. It's going to be they that will have the decree to go out and get this earth together. That's a small percentage, but it's still millions of people. For the first 7 years, when Christ make a decree, he's going to send out the ships of Tarshish, like it says in Isaiah 60, to start gathering the remnant that are left there after the nuclear fallout. And at the same time, 7-year decree from Israel to go out through the earth to take all the weapons of the Gentiles and start to burn them and destroy them. Read.
Verse 10. So that they may take no wood out of the field, neither cut down any out of the forest, for they shall burn the weapons with fire, and they shall spoil those that spoiled them.
Now we're taking back all the riches that were taken from us. Go ahead.
And rob those that robbed them.
And we're going to rob the nations that stole from us. Why? Because it wasn't theirs to begin with. All the money that's being controlled in the earth, all the riches that the Rothschilds and the Jewish powers are controlling, came from our temples. Came from Solomon's temple. Came from the temples that were in Jerusalem. The riches which were in Jerusalem. Go ahead.
Verse 11. Excuse me. And rob those that rob them, saith the Most High God. And it shall come to pass in that day, that I will give unto God a place there of graves in Israel, the valley of passengers of the east of the sea. And it shall stop the noses of the passengers, and there they shall bury God in all his multitude. And they shall call it the valley of Hammon-God.
And they shall call it the valley of Hammon-God. Go ahead.
And 7 months shall the house of Israel be burying of them.
So it's going to take them 7 months. 7 months to bury all the dead. Now imagine that. When you go into Ezekiel 38, it tell you about Gog and Magog, which are primarily Asian nations who are coming over to the Middle East to protect their brother in the Middle East. So that's the Asians coming over. And they will be in the Middle East during this last world war, or in the body of Jehoshaphat. Some people teach that Gog and Magog is talking about Russia, but they don't understand that the original people of Russia was Asians. They were Asians. The Edomites didn't get into those areas until Zepho went into those areas under Greece and eventually led the rest of his brothers there. And there was an Asian conquest in which they pushed the Asians further upward out of those areas. When you look in the mountains near Russia, you got the Mongols, or dark Asians, a remnant of the original Asians that were there. So you're going to have these Asians still remnants all near the fallout. Read on.
Verse 12. In 7 months shall the house of Israel be burying of them, that they may cleanse the land.
So it's going to be a 7-month period to cleanse the land from all the dead. From all the dead. And mind you, this is the dead that are being destroyed, that fought against God's people too. Because eventually all the nations are going to stop fighting each other and start fighting against Christ and Christ's people. Eventually. Go ahead.
Verse 13. Yea, all the people of the land shall bury them, and it shall be to them a renown in that day, in the day that I shall be glorified, saith the Most High God.
Go ahead.
And they shall sever out men of continual appointment.
So we're going to sever out from amongst the Gentiles men of continual employment, linking up with Isaiah 14. So there will be no one without a job out of the Gentiles. Continual employment. Read.
And they shall sever out men of continual employment, passing through the land to bury with the passengers those that remain upon the face of the earth, to cleanse it. After the 7 months after the end of the 7 months shall they search. And the passengers that pass through the land, when any man seeth a man's bones, then shall he set up a sign by it, till the buriers have buried it in the valley of Hamongog. And also the name of the city shall be called Hamana. Thus shall they cleanse the land.
And that's crystal clear. Read on.
Verse 17. And thou, son of man, saith the Most High God, speak unto every feathered fowl, and to every beast of the field, assemble yourselves, and come, gather yourselves on every side, to my sacrifice, that I do sacrifice for you, even a great sacrifice upon the mountains of Israel, that they may eat flesh and drink blood.
So all these governments that are bringing their military and their ships over and their manpower over, these men are being brought over to be a sacrifice before the God of the Hebrews. He's telling all the animals, including the fowls, to be prepared, because after this death, they'll have a great feast. And they will feast on all the armies of the earth and the people who have fought against the children of Israel. Now let's go back to Zechariah, the 14th chapter, and let's round this up. Where you left off at?
Verse 5.
We went through the fields of Benjamin, right, earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, let's go down to the, let's go to the last part. Let's start with the 10th verse, Zechariah 14 and 10. Go ahead.
Verse 10. All the land shall be turned as a plain from Gabaa to Rimmon, south of Jerusalem. And it shall be lifted up and inhabited in her place from Benjamin's gate, unto the place of the first gate, unto the corner, and from the tower of Hananiah, unto the king's winepresses. And men shall dwell in it, and there shall be no more utter destruction, but Jerusalem shall safely be inhabited.
So once Christ set everything up with this highway and have the children of Israel come through these 4 passageways over into Israel, there will be no more desolation or war after this. No more desolation. This will be the last desolation. Christ is going to bring the last desolation. Okay? He's going to bring it. He's going to start with the war, with warring against all the armies that are in Jerusalem today, the remnant that's left after the fallout. I'm going to tell you, what's going on right now is prophetic and apocalyptic. When I say what's going on now, I'm talking about the gathering of all nations and how they gathered around to try to take out Iran. It's not going to happen the way they planned it. This will break all the powers of the earth. And China think that they can just lay back while it's getting destroyed. But they have to realize, if something happens to Iran, America can go back on their promise to fuel them with fuel, even if Iran is taken out. America can go back on their promise at any time. Look at their track record. Israel can go back on their promise. So when it says he shall put hooks in their jaws and turn them back, China and North Korea will come back into this war. They're going to start sending their armies over here soon. Now, mind you, this is no place in the news. You never heard this any place in the news at all. So when you hear that China is going to send boats and stuff over here, understand that it's prophetic according to Scripture. People have been teaching incorrect doctrine by saying Gog and Magog is Russia. They've purposely destroyed prophecy. Edom is Edom. Edom never became Japheth. Period. Edom never became Japheth. So when it talks about Gog and Magog, in order for you to understand the prophecies of end times, you have to go to the people that the Most High named Gog and Magog before the migrations of people integrating in the earth. That's how you break down prophecy. So I don't have to wonder who it is in prophecy, because we know what people in the earth, who they are, based on their family lineages according to the Bible. We know that the Asians are Japheth. That's without question. We know that the Caucasians are Edom. So how can the prophecies of Russia, the Russian today, be talking about the people the Most High had in Russia during the beginning? You can't say it's talking about the Russians today. It's talking about the original children of Gog and Magog. He's going to put hooks in their jaws and turn them back into this war. If you notice, all the other countries have military presence over in the Middle East except one great superpower. Who's that? China. Because they thought that they could just sit back and let everybody kill each other, and by default, they would become the new superpower of the earth. Great plan. But no, they're after China's resource. Without Iran's oil, China have no chance of standing as a superpower. Because now they're engineered, or they're run on the same oil and the same industrial complex as America. And without the oil, it's nothing there. They can't run their businesses there without the oil. So that's going to force them back, because if America get in charge of it, they can forget it. They're not going to get it anyway. But we know that that's not going to happen. We're dealing with an apocalyptic biblical prophecy, and it's big. This war is not going to be like World War I or World War II. Okay? And it wasn't even really a world war. It seems like every war that includes Europeans fighting each other becomes a world war. This is about to be a world's war, because Iran, everybody's involved in this. You got the Middle East, you got Europe, you got Asia, you're going to have parts of Africa, you're going to have South America. All these wars, this is the war right here that's going to make the world desolate. And only a few going to make it through this war. Only a very few. The Most High says he's going to put hooks in his jaws and turn him back. He's going to turn the Asians right back into this war. And they're going to be prepared for a feast too. Because they've been worshiping the dragon been worshiping Satan and worshiping serpents and all types of spirits. The Most High got a judgment for them too. And they've made themselves after Babylon. They've done the same thing America have done. So the Most High have a judgment for them too, but that's another class. Let's finish this up. Read on.
Verse 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Most High will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem.
Here's the plague that the Most High is going to use for all the nations. Here's his greatest weapon that he's going to use for all the nations who have fought against our people. Now, mind you, Galatians 6 and 7 says, be not deceived. The Most High God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, he shall also reap. So our falling away have happened in 70 AD, in which they took us down, destroyed us, and took our riches, took everything from us. Now we have another falling away, where they have taken everything from us again. They're about to round people up with this Gulf so-called oil spill, when usually something has to spill into something to be a spill, which is really a volcanic eruption of oil that the government has set off to destroy all the people that are primarily in those Gulf coasts, which are the children of Israel, and this is their war against Cuba too. Cuba is in the Gulf. This is strategic warfare. Okay? So, we're going to tell you, the Most High is going to use this weapon. He's going to show you the plague that he will use that will actually make the earth desolate. What is that? Read.
And this shall be the plague wherewith the Most High will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem.
So they're fighting against us. Believe it or not, this is warfare. Even though it's not physical warfare, look at the eugenics program, the abortion program, the destruction of our people. Look at the people that can't even afford to pay their rent or keep food on the table. How will they displace themselves during an evacuation period when they are labeled evacuees? How will they save their belongings? They will be ravished again. So the Most High need to fight for his people, because his people have nothing to fight with. We have nothing to fight with anymore. Read.
Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet.
So the plague the Most High is going to use will be so forceful that the flesh shall consume off of them while they stand in their feet, on their feet. What can do this? A nuclear blast. That's what can do this. So the Most High Spirit will be in the fire. Read.
Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes.
And their eyes shall consume away in their holes. If y'all seen Terminator, when the woman was holding the gate at the playground, how that nuclear blast happened and her flesh went away down to her bones and it blew up like it was dust. That's what's going to be used to make these places desolate. And you have to realize there's more nuclear bombs than you can imagine. And all of them are about to go off in this earth. So we're not talking about a large percentage of just Israel being destroyed. You're talking about a third of mankind before it's said and done, according to Revelations. I'm talking about almost all at once. Because when these bombs, when one bomb go off, it tell you in Esdras, everybody going to start hitting the button. Boom, 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 boom. We was looking at the movie Che the other day, going into the revolution, the South American Revolution, and I've never looked at Che before, examined Che. Oh man, the Spirit of the Most High was on this guy, and it was eye-opening. It was eye-opening, and I'm going to tell you. They were afraid that we might go into that mindset. But speaking about that, There was there was this close from a nuclear war between Cuba, and I'm talking about this was the 60s, America and Cuba. It was this close. They didn't report that until the 80s to show you that American people gets no news. If anyone going to catch it the worst, it's going to be American people. They're going to know once the button has been pushed how long they have. That's it. It's going to come on. This is not a test of the emergency broadcast system. This country just launched the missiles. Get into a safe place. That's it. It's going to interrupt whatever program that's been destroying their minds all their life. It probably be American Idol will probably be on. This is not a test. You got 1 hour. That's how these things happen. Lord says in 1 hour that place is done. 1 hour. And these are the things that are planned. And I'm going to tell you, they came that close. And see, America wanted to do away with Cuba because Cuba had an idea that the people controls the government, not the other way around. And if there's a government that's going to be a tyrannical government that's going to try to control the people and destroy the people and have drugs destroy the people, they will oust that government. Because the government should be for the people. Even if we're poor, at least we're living. And they didn't want that ideology to get out on the other side of the water. Every government that America tried to set up over there, they overthrew. They didn't want that mindset to get amongst the people. And guess what? It wasn't just Mexicans fighting or Cubans fighting with Che. Okay? You had Haitians fighting with Che. You had blacks fighting with Che. And they did it. Till this day, people don't touch Cuba. But they found a way to deal with Cuba. Through what? Through that oil. Now they're going to deal with Cuba and have Cuba go down with no evacuation plans because they're right there on the waters. That's it. That's how they plan on dealing with them. And during that time, they sent, 11 to 14 nuclear missiles over to South Africa. So that if Cuba launched on America, then the South Africans can launch on Cuba. This is how they do these things, man. So you got all these countries with nuclear bombs all over the earth that have allegiances with each other and alliances aligned against each other. So when one bomb is pushed, it's going to be a field day. You read 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter and the 16th chapter, and it lets you know it's going to be one cloud, then another cloud, then another cloud. So when you're looking at it from the Most High's vision, he's seeing certain places destroyed and nuclear clouds coming up. Boom, 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 boom. And then it says one star will go towards Babylon to make her desolate. So it's going to start over the Middle East, and it's going to make its way to America. Boom. Now we got a little time before that happens, but we're close. First, there must be that falling away first. And that's what's about to happen right now with the evacuation in the United States. This world will never be the same. If you haven't gotten anything from this world, don't look to get anything from it. It's over. It's finished. And guess what? And there's no feel-good story anyone can give you. Or no temporary relief. The only relief that we have at the end of this is that if we serve the Most High, Christ will give us rest. That's our only relief. We must look for our relief from the other side. And just deal with survival day by day. And we have to stop dealing with the things and talking about the things that divide us and come together for self-preservation in the spirit of the Most High. That's how we're going to make it through this. The Lord says a nation divided against itself cannot stand. That's another reason why we're not going to be dealing with madness anymore and back and forth anymore. If you don't believe what we believe, that's fine. You believe you should live? So do we. Can we agree on that? Let's work together to live. How about that? Finish reading.
Verse 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Most High will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem.
This is the plague the Most High is going to use. Read.
Their flesh shall consume while they stand upon their feet.
Their flesh shall consume while they stand upon their feet. Read.
And their eyes shall consume away in their holes.
And their eyes shall consume away in their holes. Go ahead.
And their tongue shall consume away in their mouth.
What can do this? A nuclear blast. A nuclear blast. Of course, within the last 3 years, we've been going into the scriptures on how the Most High made an instrument for His purpose, written of in Isaiah the 54th chapter, where it says He created the smith that blow up the coals and shape an arrow for His will. And it's talking about Him putting the Spirit in these nations to split an atom and make their own demise, to make a weapon that will break the powers of the whole earth. And then on top of that, after they've broken themselves, Christ come to break it all together on top after the nuclear war. This is the world we live in. There's nothing we've been taught in these dumbed down societies to prepare us for this spiritual battle. Nothing. Anything you know according to this world, throw it out the window. Throw it out the window. You only get frustrated when you try to compare what you have learned and how you deal with scenarios with something spiritual. It's impossible. Throw it out the window. Get into these scriptures, link into the Most High, because that's the only thing that can prepare us for what's going on in this time. We're going to read down to the 21st verse and we'll be done. Go ahead.
Verse 14. Excuse me. Verse 13. And it shall come to pass in that day that a great multitude from the Most High,
A great tumult,
from the Most High shall be among them.
A tumult is an uprising, people uprising. This is what's about to happen right after that happens, right? A tumult is people start uprising. So right after the nuclear hit, everyone is going to start uprising. That's what a tumult is. Read.
And they shall lay hold every one on the hand of his neighbor, and his neighbor shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor.
It's going to be total chaos and confusion and people fighting each other. It's going to be whites against blacks, blacks against the whites, blacks against Mexicans, whites against Mexicans, Arabs against this, this against that, Asians against that, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. I just showed you on a small level. But like I said before, in America, you have some groups that have been preparing for this for 15, 20 years with their guns ready. Now, as soon as Katrina happened, people already had bunkers set up to block all black people that would try to get out of the city and was picking people off. And then say, well, listen, we just wanted to make sure we was protecting our goods. But really, it wasn't that. They was always looking for an opportunity to start a race war. There will be no rules in this thing. Read on.
Verse 14. And Judah also shall fight at Jerusalem.
At that time, those that are planted in the right area with Christ will fight with Christ. Judah is the lead tribe. That's the Negro tribe. Go ahead.
And Judah also shall fight at Jerusalem, and the wealth of all the heathen round about shall be gathered together, gold and silver and apparel in great abundance.
See that? So now Judah going to start getting some of their riches back. I'm going to tell you, even in the book of Joshua, it shows you different parts of the desert in which Joseph, our brother, left gold, in which we're going to get at the very end while we're in the wilderness. We're going to be digging and just finding stuff. So the Most High is going to give us back the wealth that will build the kingdom of heaven. Go ahead.
Verse 15. And so shall be the plague of the horse, of the mule, of the camel, and of the ass, and of all the beasts that shall be in these tents as displayed. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which come against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King of the Most High, the King, the Most High of hosts, and shall keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
That's crystal clear. That the whole earth is going to be following the commandments of the Most High, including the heathens. Who will teach the Gentiles how to follow their ways? We will. The children of Israel will execute the law from Jerusalem. So it can't be the people that are in Jerusalem today, because they're bringing forth the spirit of the Talmud. The Babylonian Talmud is going forth from Jerusalem. The people in the earth don't even know the holy days of the Most High. They're following the Gentiles' holidays and holy days and traditions. Read.
Verse 17. And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Most High of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain.
So if the Gentiles decide that they come up to worship the Most High, He will not send rain in their areas once the kingdom is established. He'll have a drought in their areas. Go ahead.
Verse 18. And if the family of Egypt go not up.
So if the families that are in Egypt, because Egypt will still be established once the kingdom's here. If they don't go up, read.
And come not, that have no rain, there shall be the plague, wherewith the Most High shall smite the heathen that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
So there's a plague that's going to be specifically for Egypt, for those that don't come to deal with the Feast of Tabernacle. And I'm bringing this out because I'm showing you, according to the Most High, that the Most High holy days stand. We must rehearse the righteous acts. And if Christ dealt with the holy days, the disciples dealt with the holy days, then we must deal with the holy days. How will we teach them to the Gentiles if we haven't practiced them? Go ahead.
Verse 19. This shall be the punishment of Egypt, and the punishment of all the nations that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
Go ahead.
And that day there shall be upon the bells of the horses holiness unto the Most High, and in the pots,
the pads,
and unto the
pots.
And the pots in the Most High's house shall be like the bowls before the altar. Yea, every pot in Jerusalem and in Judah shall be holiness unto the Most High of hosts. And all they that sacrifice shall come and take of them, and seethe therein. And in that day there shall be no more the Canaanite in the house of the Most High.
And at that time, no more Canaanites living in the land. And no more people claiming to be the children of Israel. And you believe it or not, and this is true, if you look at the research, the Jewish powers today also follow the sorcery and witchcraft of ancient Canaan. That's where witchcraft and voodoo originally came from. Witchcraft and voodoo they try to put on us, but we learned that originally from the Hamitic child of Canaan. And these are the practices the Jewish people are using in sorcery today. And no longer will they be using that or dealing in Jerusalem anymore. Okay? This whole lesson is an actual file. And whoever requests this file can get one printed out. If they want to deal with the lesson themselves, or those that missed the lesson, if you request it, Lawyer, you can make sure you send it, right? If you request the information on After the Wilderness, we'll send it to you for absolutely nothing. Okay? Because you need to know there's other information in here that we didn't go into, but is yours free of charge because you need this information.